You guys ready to get into tonight's game? Pick up where we left off? Yeah, Kurt, nobody gets it.
Game over.
The laboratory has always been your home, your world. Its sterile walls, the ever-present hum of machines dictating your every moment of your somewhat bleak existences. Every single day was a cycle of routine and order. Machines woke you, they fed you, they tested you, measuring your abilities, recording your progress. Everything was a data point in their endless cycle. And the day began like any other in the testing facilities. Stravinsky 71, sharp-eyed and quick, unfortunately wasn't able to successfully complete his tests of agility, smarts. Travolta 33 pushed his limits of endurance under the machine's watchful gaze, while Gretzky 99 solved intricate patterns on displays, his mind working against the steady ticking of time. And then later in the habitat, beneath the shifting artificial sunlight, Caligula 79, Gordon 97, and Phobos 2 wandered its paths, chasing small creatures, inspecting strange glossy red fruit hanging in the boughs of some trees. Yet even here, in this natural space, even here the machines were watching. And after the fruit released some bizarre oily substance upon Gordon 97, it became apparent that it was just another test. Your day ended in the eating area, where trays of nutrient-rich goop were dispensed with the usual impersonal efficiency as everything else in your lives. Blue, yellow, green portions all consumed without question, providing sustenance but little satisfaction. And as the cycle closed, you returned to the den, settling into your cages and finding sleep, as always, the ever-present hum of the machines. But then, the hum stopped. The next day was like any other, until it wasn't. Without warning, the machines fell silent, their lights dimmed, their mechanical arms hanging limp, and their unrelenting schedules vanishing. What had once been a world of order almost instantly became something else entirely. The laboratory's stillness was unfamiliar, unnerving. You wandered through the silent spaces, searching for something, anything. In the habitat, nature began to reclaim itself. Vines grew wild. The creek carved new paths, and the once docile tiny animals became more cautious, even feral to an extent. And though unsettling, the habitat became your refuge. You scavenged for survival here, adapting to the changes around you, learning. And then, in the dark of this artificial night, something stirred. A dormant machine, once overgrown with moss, came to life, its jerking, unnatural movements shattering the silence as its red sensor light flickered wildly across the space. The high-pitched whine of its buzzsaw filled the air, and the machine charged. But before we get to that, before we find out if you can survive an attack from these machines, I want to say thank you to all of our people in chat for some donations that I see coming through. We got some bits getting thrown around. I see a bunch here.
There's basically Kurt. Like one for Kurt, one for Creep. So one for Kurt from Varl, one for Creep from Valkyrie, and then Valkyrie gave enough for another floating bit.
Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. Who here, by the way, is at 2 feral points and who is at 3? Bleak, you've got 2?
I'm at 4 because I have 3 powers and I had 1 left over from...
So you just go up to your 3. That 1 ends up getting lost.
So then I will take 1 off.
3. Creep, you've got... You have 4.
Ty's the only one who survives.
You have 4 feral powers, Creep?
Wait, you're saying I lost whatever I had left over from last one? Okay, then I have 3.
Okay. Cool. Excellent. And Ian, you also had 3. Kurt, you had 3. And Gordon, you also had 3. Nice. Everybody picked up an extra feral power from start. Wonderful. Why don't we actually take a second here before we get to the machines, and I'd like for each of you to please describe for me what it was like for your characters in that intervening time from when the machines stopped working and shut down. I mean, it was weeks, if not months, between that and this point at which this machine has come to life to attack all of you. What have things been like for your characters? We'll start with you, Bleak.
I think that it was a very difficult spiritual time for Phobos, and I think he spent a lot of time wandering the halls and kind of trying to get an understanding of where the gods had gone and what had happened. He always saw the machines as kind of despicable, a little bit like just these empty vessels without free will that served the gods, and once they stopped working and even they were abandoned, he had a bit of a crisis of faith, because if these incredibly servile creatures, these machines, would be abandoned, like, it didn't give him a lot of hope. And I think that one of the things he stumbled upon while traveling around and kind of trying to get a sense of exactly what it all meant and what was happening, he discovered this very beautiful water fountain. It was kind of this really shiny kind of metal, and it had like a big tank on top, and then it had this beautiful big drinking bowl at the bottom, and it had like a little cover that you could lift off and down from it. And when he found that, like, he was pretty excited. It was like perfect for all his friends to drink from. But what he started doing with it is that he remembered watching sometimes some of the machines and some of the others mixing things, and he started doing that. He started bringing different kinds of liquids and things that he would find from around the encampment or the laboratory where they were, and kind of mixing them in this beautiful. And the thing about this drinking bowl that was great was that it had like a built-in shaker or swirler function. Like, there was like a little handle, and you would like kind of press it down, and it would like mix everything for you already. So he would just mix like a bunch of different liquids and stuff, and like pull that handle down, and it would kind of mix them all together. And I think in doing that and in remembering some of the things that he saw, he was able to start creating different things that different liquids and different drinks that made that seemed to have powerful effect on him and his companions. So he was definitely very, very glad for this, and he spends a lot of time just worshiping at this chrome, fountain.
Nice.
Yeah, he's that's beautiful.
How about you, Ian? What's life been like for 3?
I think in this moment, 3 has really connected with his feral side. His senses seem to be picking up, and a lot of times they find him just kind of on the ground, kind of sniffing areas, stalking and prowling, but it's not in a predatory way because he's so big. He's just imagine like Baloo the bear with his butt in the air, just kind of shuffling around, just going, okay, I smell something over here, okay, and then he just kind of hovers off. I think with one of the machines, when he pulled off the food tube on that first instance, he found like a little small metal shard that he's like working with a stick for, trying to fashion a bow. And you just kind of see him, like, it's survival for him, but it's not an aggressive survival. It's like a Susie homemaker survival, but in the woods. He's just like, I smelled something really nice over there earlier. Go see what we can find. He's just kind of stalking around the habitat.
Nice. You're like if Paddington was a giant black bear almost.
Exactly. Yes, exactly that. Like all of these aggressive movements, and there's moments to where you can kind of see it in his face, but it snaps instantly, just like I smell. What is it? And he just kind of floats off.
Brilliant. Hey, Kurt, what's Gretzky's time like during all this?
Well, Gretzky, he took his time going through and looking at all the various periodicals he could find describing the great outside where we all belong. Past that, he found a very nice wooden stick that had a perfect 135-degree angle to it. He isn't quite sure why it needed to be that, but it did. And he found a very interesting piece of lab equipment. It was full of precious water, but it did not taste good, and it had very small rings in it. And when he pressed the little white button, a jet of air would come out, and it would cause the little rings to go onto little hooks. And he passed the time away trying to get as many of the little rings on the little hooks as he could, and preaching to everybody about the great outside, and that is where we must go.
The great outside. Ooh.
What about Gordon?
Well, it took me a long time to trust anything that grew, right? I was told that things were safe to eat, and I didn't believe it. So I went hungry for a little while, but I was watching 3. And 3 was always seeming to eat. And it wasn't sniffing me so often, which I was going to have a conversation with him about, but that kind of faded away. And I just kind of followed him around a little bit and decided I'm going to redefine myself kind of like the way 3 does. So I kind of picked up on hunting the way that 3 did it, which apparently is also called foraging. I don't know. And I also took my my cap that I found in there and I cut some eye holes in it. I like to wear it like as a cravat around my neck, but then sometimes I pull it up over my head when I'm feeling particularly, wound up. And then Phobos doesn't know it, but I took a scalpel out of the medical stuff and tied it to my leg because you can't be too prepared.
I think with those foraging moments too, where Gordon is following 3, he's like, I smell something. I just don't know where it is. And he's like walking in circles. He's just trailing.
And I'm following you around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't smell anything.
It's just so strong. It just kind of smells like that blue stuff or green.
What about Caligula?
I think Caligula's taken a lot of time to really scavenge this place, specifically the human area. He's been picking apart the computers in there, pulling out various wires, going through the desks and finding various tools. He likes to put on his new lens he's fashioned, and try to find hidden areas that he could possibly break into and take things from. One of his favorite areas is the habitat itself, and trying to climb the trees in there to attempt to get to the ceiling where he could see where he was being watched. And basically, if anyone were to go back to where they sleep at night, his area, his little pad is just completely overran and piled with wires and various pieces of metal and perhaps more little lenses that he's pulled off of things. And he's just slowly building his hoard of things and trying new things with them. At night, he doesn't sleep as much, but he doesn't really pace anymore. You guys would have noticed that the pacing has stopped because he's sitting in there and he's combining all these little elements he's found and is trying to create his own, what Phobos would call gods.
Nice.
Perhaps playing God himself.
I think it's during this time that Stravinsky also spends even more time with Caligula, and it's kind of like having a little partner, who's smaller than Caligula, wanting to just kind of feel useful. And so he's always trying to run around and find new things. And this is probably around the time, maybe a couple of days before the machine with the buzzsaw goes after you. This is probably around the time that he scavenges he starts actually dismantling the machines themselves. And he finds pieces and starts bringing them to you. And Caligula starts putting them together, and they work well with the lens that he picked up. And you turn it into the device that you and I had talked about previously, that you can see with a machine's perspective, including in dark spaces when others cannot. So
I imagine with Stravinsky, there's a lot of like late night think tanking with each other.
100%. 100%. But your late night think tanking, of course, is interrupted at some point as this machine with its high-pitched whine and buzzsaw extending from an arm at its side begins to spin faster and faster until the teeth begin to blur and the machine's head swivels towards you. Its glowing sensor locked on. I need for everyone to please roll initiative. So that is 1d6. And I know a couple of you, it might only be one of you, but I know someone actually has a power that they can activate to increase their initiative. And just so you know, your initiative changes every round. So, Bleak, what'd you get?
I have Sixth Sense, which is not really about initiative, but it says an ability to sense danger and react to a threat faster than an enemy can attack. Does that apply in every ship before? It doesn't do anything for initiative for some odd reason. I guess I didn't read it when I took it, but it says you modify your scout roll. Which
so
I'm sitting here now and I'm like,
I'll say that in this case, your Sixth Sense is inhibited a little bit by the sleep.
Okay.
So it's not going to do anything this time, but so if later on that becomes important, when you do a successful scout roll, you can get bonuses to initiative and act on it before anybody else does. You basically can get a free turn out of it, which is why it's important.
Okay. Remind me how we roll initiative on this thing.
It's just a straight d6. Caligula, what'd you get?
I got a 5.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a d6 plus your agility.
So I have a 9.
Wonderful. Gordon?
Checking my agility. Oh my god. Okay, well, I spent a feral point to use my fast reflexes.
Nice.
So I got a 12.
Excellent. You also need to roll a d6 on that feral point and tell me if you get a 1.
Will do. No, got a 4.
Excellent. Gretzky, what'd you get?
I got a 7.
Phobos?
5.
Stravinsky got a 7 as well. I'm going to make him go at 6, so Gretzky goes for him. 3, what'd you get?
6 total.
Okay. The machine got an 11. So only Gordon actually is going to get to go before this machine. So, Gordon, you are all kind of sleeping in the same general area. You're like basically just outside. You're at the edges of the habitat. Just outside of like the food room and the den and all of that kind of thing. So any of you that might not necessarily be sleeping in the habitat, you can quickly be able to get into the fray, so we're not worrying about who's here and who's not and all of that. But Gordon, you came awake pretty quickly, having some pretty good natural instinct to things wanting to murder you at this point.
Plus roosters are always up first.
Yes, plus roosters are always up first. You see this machine there, looking very much obvious a threat. What do you do?
I hop up and I go, and I run and I rip out the machete and I try to just slam it into its guts.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, for what it's worth, your machete is machete in name. It's basically like a giant hunk of just raw metal that you managed to rip off of some other machine parts or a wall or something, and you've spent like weeks sharpening it to become a feral weapon. So awesome. Go ahead and roll your fight.
Fight me. Okay. All right. Let's see. So fight is 3, and then I add my weapon bonus, or is that how that works?
You add strength, and then you also, so the weapon bonus is your black die, your strength is your green die, and your fight is your yellow die.
Okay. Okay, I got 3 successes in, no, I got 5. Wait, what am I looking at? I got 3, 3 successes and 1 failure, or 1-1.
So the failure's not going to matter in this case because you did get 3 successes. You also didn't get any 1s on your equipment die, so you're good there as well. So with 3 successes, you do succeed in hitting this thing, and you get a couple of stunts that you can add. Excuse me, that you can add to, do some extra things. So on a fight roll, every stunt that you get, you can add a point of damage. You could also increase your initiative score by next turn for one of those stunts. You can attempt to knock the opponent back if you like. It's really up to you on some of the extra things that you want to do. Whatever your damage is on the weapon, you can choose to increase, though, for any stunts you don't want to spend.
Okay, how many stunts can I do?
You've got 1 success and then 2 stunts.
Okay, I'm going to use a stunt to do extra damage.
Okay, so what's your base damage on your bladed weapon?
Look, it is 2.
Great, so then you're going to end up trying to do 3 damage to it, and what are you going to use your other stunt for?
I'll hold it for my initiative.
All right, remember that initiative bonus for the next round then. So it has 6 armor. So I get to roll to see how much armor it does. So it reduces your damage by 2. So you do 1 chunk of 1 point of damage to it. As this blade comes down on top of this thing, its thick metal hide basically takes a huge gash out of the side. You see some sparks fly off the top of it as you tear into it, but it does not stop. And it now gets to take its turn upon you. So it has a fight of 2 and a strength of 3. So that's 5 dice. And then its buzzsaw gives it an extra die as well. So that is 3 successes on you. And you unfortunately don't have any armor at this point.
Nope.
So this buzzsaw does 4 points of damage to you as it slashes deep into Gordon's flesh.
That's all my damage points.
So that takes your strength down to 0. You only have a 4 strength?
Yeah.
All right, so that is going to be a critical injury for you. I need for you to roll 2d6 and just pair them together. Don't add them up. So, like a 1 and a 2 would be a 12. 2 and
53.
a 1. 5, 3. You get a severe blow to your face. A large section of your beak and part of your cheek gets completely buzzed off the side of your face. You now have a -2 to manipulate. and you need to roll a d6.
It's the Knight of Gordon. 2.
You have 2 hours for someone to attempt to heal this critical injury, or that -2 to manipulate becomes permanent.
Oof.
The Knight Gordon became a chicken nugget.
So those of you that are
same thing.
those of you that are gathered in this same area, I'll let you decide who among you that is, see this buzzsaw just tear into Gordon, and then his body collapse to the ground as he is basically knocked out.
Goddamn cock running in before thinking about things. Fuck.
Going off half-cocked?
All right, we're going to say stuff. At least I'm not running around. Then you know I've gotten my head cut off.
I mean, that is an option on here for your critical injuries. So.
Great. That'll be the cue. Start running in circles.
Yep. Awesome. So yeah, that was the machine's turn. It is now Caligula's turn. Caligula, were you sleeping or were you in the vicinity of the machine? Or do you think that you were in the den?
Caligula is in his den, and he was in there doing his usual nightly think tank with Stravinsky, kind of going through stuff, swapping parts.
When the buzzsaw went off.
And I think he hears the sound, and at first he's kind of like, and then he hears like the squawking of Gordon. And
as you round a corner to come and see what's up, you and Stravinsky, you round a corner and you see Gordon turned into minced chicken.
I think his first reaction is, I have a talent that's called Weapons Collector. You're fascinated by weapons and gather as many as you can find. When trying to find a weapon of any kind in your hoard, you scavenge roll. Your scavenge roll is modified by +2. So I think he's going to go to his den and kind of go through his hoard of crap and see if there's something he could use to combat this.
Okay. Go ahead and make a scavenge roll.
Question, do I have to use a feral point to use
No, talents are not feral point specific.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that gives me, that's a lot of dice.
So your weapons collector will add yellow dice. So you're rolling 5 dice for your wits and then 6 dice for green dice,
Mm-hmm.
5 yellow dice and 6 green dice.
Okay. I got 1 success.
Oof. 1 success is not failure. That's enough.
I kind of want to push it though. I'd like some more successes.
So you are going to get 1 point of damage out of that already, because if you push, you did roll 1-1 on a yellow die. So
yeah.
You can absolutely push it. We love that around here.
I'm gonna fucking push it.
Do it.
Why not? Let's get crazy. I got 2 successes and 2 damage.
Yep. So your wits gets reduced by 2. You get 2 feral points for that.
Let's go.
Yep. So you get something out of it. But you did take a little bit of damage, and 2 successes is better than the 1 success. So that's a good.
I want to find a good weapon. I want to help my friends.
As you are digging through everything, Stravinsky had been like messing with this really, really heavy thing that he was trying to. You guys had hard time like chopping wood and stuff. And so he had been working on this large chunk of metal with a kind of blade at the end that could be kind of swung wide to help fell trees and like cut off limbs and stuff. So you get an axe.
Okay.
Out of it.
All right.
But that is your turn.
You got stats on that axe?
So it'll be one of the pages of the spreadsheet there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
+1 and 3. +1 bonus, 3 damage.
Yep. And so that was your turn. You have found your axe to hopefully come back in time and save your friend. It is now Gretzky's turn.
This thing's pretty big. The cock nearly lost his head. We can't have that. Okay, here we go. And he bolts off towards the machine, raising his staff. And he's like, 2-minute penalty, high sticking. Ah! And he swings with his stick at said machine.
Go for it.
Okay, so that would be my fight, correct?
Yes, so you're rolling fight plus strength.
All right.
Which we know your strength is amazing.
It's amazing, but I would like to spend 2 of my feral points with this one.
Okay.
Which will increase my green dice, right?
In this case, it's your yellow dice.
Yellow dice.
Yeah. When you spend feral points, it adds your yellow dice. Everything else is green dice.
Gotcha. All right. Here we go. Well, shit.
So that's a failure. Are you going to push the roll?
It? Yeah, can I push it?
You can push it.
All right. Here we go. Oh, shit. Well.
That's a success. But
It is.
You took 1 point of damage. Before we resolve that, though, we need to resolve whether or not you end up succumbing to your feral powers. Roll 2d6 and tell me if you get any ones.
Oh, man. No.
Okay. So because you pushed, you are going to take 1 point of strength damage.
Okay.
I think you only have 1 point of strength, right?
I have 2.
You have 2. Great.
I have 2.
You now only have 1.
I'm old man strength. Let's go. Yeah.
But you don't suffer any critical hits or anything like that. What is the damage on your staff?
1.
Okay, so I get to roll my 6 dice.
Roll like shit.
I got 2 successes out of my 6 dice. So you run up, screaming 2-minute penalty, slam your stick into this monstrous machine, and like Wile E. Coyote hitting a giant anvil with a rod, you start shaking profusely as it seems completely unfazed.
It's got a shell like a tortoise. Hit it harder.
It is now Stravinsky's turn. So Stravinsky pulls out this small bladed weapon from his belt, and like a feral little monkey rat leaps across the space in front of Gretzky, trying to stab at this machine. So that's 3 4 dice, 1 success, and 2 1s. I'm not going to push that for Stravinsky just because that would be minimum 2 damage for him. And he does not have that great of strength. So he will take his 1 success, rolling the armor. 1 point on the armor. So he also stabs into this thing, and his blade just like chinks off of the thick metal of this monstrosity. 3. You are up.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
Go punch
so, right. That's all I got. I think it 3 stepped out of the air for a second because he was with Gordon, and then comes back and sees it, and that look on his face, his eyes widen, and he starts doing one of these, and he's just gets as big as he possibly can, and we're just gonna hit it with my claws.
Going feral.
Now, go huge, just going right into it. So one of my powers is huge. Do I deal with that after I roll? I think because that's how it reads.
Yes.
Okay. Sick. Okay. So I got one success. And then the nuclear symbol on the yellow, that's a 1. That's a failure, right?
You should have rolled way more than 1 yellow die.
So it's my strength and fight, right, for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 5 strength, 1 fight.
Oh, you should have inverted that. That should have been 5 yellow die and 1. That's fine. We'll just leave it as is for now, because it's, only going to matter if you push the roll. Do you want to push that roll and re-roll your other 4 dice?
Yeah. Screw it. We'll do that. Okay, I got 2 successes and a failure.
Okay, so the 1 failure is going to do you 1 point of strength damage to you, but you did get a feral point for that. So you got 2 successes, so that's a hit, and then you get 1 stunt. What does huge do for you?
So it reduces any damage that I take, and then I can increase the damage that I provide by 1, even if I'm using a melee. But right now I'm not. I'm just using my claws.
Okay. Do you have to spend feral points to do that?
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-1 on the damage.
Okay. Are you going to spend a feral point to increase your damage?
Yes, I am.
How many are you going to spend?
I'm going to spend 2.
Nice. So you need to roll 2d6 and tell me if you get any 1s.
Okay. Is there a color preference or no?
Doesn't matter.
Cool. No 1s.
Okay. So you do not suffer any extra feral effect or any of that? For any of that? So right now your base damage then, what's your damage on your claws? I think it's 1.
It's 1, yeah.
And then you've got +2 from your huge, and then you also got a stunt. Are you increasing the damage with that stunt, or are you trying to do something extra?
This buzzsaw is on a machine on a wall. Is it a free moving machine?
It's on an arm. It's on its arm.
I want to rip the buzzsaw arm off. Okay.
You can attempt to do that. So we'll go ahead and resolve the damage first. So you got 3 damage. It rolls its armor. X. I got 1. So that is 2 points of damage that you do to this thing. It is looking very rough at this point. And so now we get to resolve whether or not you can rip the arm off. So now you need to do a force check. You took a point of strength damage before, so that reduces your number of green dice or yellow dice that you roll for this.
Got it. Okay. So it's going to be force.
Yep, you have to roll a force check. So whatever your strength is, minus any injury that you have, is how many yellow dice you roll, and then you roll your force in green dice, and it is resisted by its strength and force. I got 1 success.
So did I, but I also got a failure. Or I got a nuclear on that yellow.
Okay. So that means that what I will say is that you attempt to rip this buzzsaw arm off of its body. You are unable to rip it off, but I will give it a -1 die penalty to actually using that buzzsaw now.
Okay. With the powers, and I'm sorry, you can only use 1 at a time. Is that correct?
It depends on the power. Some powers you can stack. It depends on whether or not it takes an action to use that power.
So I have Predator as well, and if I do a successful fight roll, I can add an additional damage. Would that stack with huge?
Yeah.
Okay. So then total, the thing takes 3 damage.
Okay. So you're spending the extra feral point to do another point of damage? All right. What does it look like as...
Yes.
As 3 tear... I'll say you successfully tear the arm off, but what do you do after that as you destroy this thing?
I think after 3 like approaches and then just swipes at it with his claws. He grabs onto the buzzsaw and it's like dangerously close to his chest, and he begins to retch it back and forth. And as soon as it's loose, he just spins it and he starts buzzsawing it with like the additional momentum of the saw into the machine. And like as it's like splitting open, he lets go and it's just stuck there, and he's standing there and he turns around and he still has this very like dazed, furrowed look. And then he goes, "So I didn't find any additional food, but I still smelled something like it was really strong. That's why I came back. What's this thing? Was this here the whole time? Hello?"
Well, it kind of woke up at the vines and the rush over there, and then Gordon decided to, just throw all abandon to the wind and just attack it without even thinking about it. I mean, I was once 3. I remember those years fondly.
Where's Gordon? Where's he at?
He's over there with half his face.
Bleak, what do you got?
I know we killed the thing. Can I still get my action?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not gonna do it as slick as it was gonna happen. I'm just gonna yell at Gordon and start rushing over, and I'm gonna slide down next to him, and I'm gonna start pulling stuff out of my bag, and I'm gonna start working on him, and I'm gonna try to heal him.
Right.
So
what are you healing him with?
I'm gonna heal him with my healing skill.
All right.
It's gonna choke the chicken.
Yeah. I'm gonna just try to jumpstart the chicken, so to speak.
Did you figure out what potions you have, by the way, from that time spent?
Yeah, I did. I'm not going to use one right now, though. I got 1 success on the roll.
You gonna push it?
I don't know. Let me go and read what happens when you heal a... Mend the broken. Person has suffered enough trauma to reduce the 4 attributes. One of the 4 attributes he was broken can carry on. If you successfully heal a broken person, he gets back to his feet immediately, recovers a number of attribute points equal to the number of successes you rolled. No resources are needed for discovery.
You will heal him 1 right now if you...
version. So the most important use of the heal skills to give first aid and stabilize critical injury, which might save your patient's life. So do I need to do that, or do I do the heal?
You can... 1 success will be enough to stabilize him and keep him from dying in the 2 hours. And since the combat has stopped, technically speaking, you will have enough time that you can rest and he can recover from everything else. So you don't have to push the roll if you don't want to right now.
All right. Well, he's gonna come swooping in, and he's going to, start staunching the bleeding and kind of bandaging him up. And he's got these strange little pills that he found that he has no clue what they do, but he slams a couple of them down his throat and figures, could it be worse? No, it can't. So he's going to do that, and then he's going to look around to try and find the bit of the beak that's been chopped off. And then if he finds it, he's got this thing that he found, and it's this it's this magical ointment thing that when you put it on things, they stick together. It's called Crossy glue. So he's going to take some of that ointment, and he's going to put it on the beak, and he's going to put the tip of the beak back on. He's probably a little nervous. It's probably going to be a little askew.
Roll an agility check. Let's see.
Okay.
A little askew.
So that's going to be 3. Oh, 2 6s and one.
That's okay. The 2 6s are what matters. It starts to be askew, but you know that you've got just those couple of seconds before the ointment solidifies, and you squeeze it just a tiny little bit and get it in just the right angle, so it's not askew before it sets in.
And then I'm going to do what I saw the gods do all the time. And I'm going to reach into the bag and pull out a little lollipop, and I'm going to give it to Gordon. I'm going to put it in his pocket.
Do you
You okay there, buddy?
Another one of those?
Yeah.
He's completely out, by the way.
Okay. All right, we need to move him. We need to get him somewhere inside. Come on, hey, 3. I'll give you a candy after 3. Just pick up Gordon, would you?
No, just picks him up. He's like,
Let's bring him
Gordon,
inside.
it's okay. Hey. He's like, his head's doing this.
Is that my goddamn scalpel tied to his foot?
His foot's dragging across the ground. As soon as you hit the metal, it starts sparking as you take him back to his den.
He can keep it. I'll bring him inside. Put him in the bed. Tuck him in nice.
Well, is he gonna be all right?
He's a tough little cock.
Yeah.
He'll be all right. Give him a bit of rest and he'll spring right back up.
I heard chicks dig scars.
Well, who knows what chicken's like?
I don't know.
Hey,
does this
3,
make him an official cockfighter?
I guess so. 3, you wanna? I know he really likes you a lot, buddy, and you got those big furry paws. You wanna just sit here next to him and stroke him a little bit?
Yeah, I'll do it. He gets real close, and he just goes.
Yeah, just gentle, slow it down.
Okay.
Not too hard. Just that's right.
Should I focus on the head a lot?
Yeah,
which is,
and just just move your wrist a little bit up and perfect.
Like this? Okay.
Yep. Just keep doing that.
Sorry, I'm just nervous. My mouth is dry.
I hand you a candy here. It's pineapple flavored.
Oh, it's good. Nice. It's delicious.
So, we take good care of our cock.
Chicks in the chat.
Hey, Bones, you made it just in time. Jesus fucking Christ, you guys.
It wasn't me this time. I'm behaving. I'm being so good.
You're being amazing. You're the perfect angel tonight compared to the rest of these fucking hooligans.
That's terrifying.
You had that sitting in your back pocket for a while, didn't you?
No, he had it in the front.
No, I just
his
know how to
hands in
rise
his
to the
pocket,
occasion.
just gently waiting.
I just know how to rise to the occasion.
It's so hard for me not to say anything.
Oh my God! Can we play the game?
You added to this, Ian.
And again, listen, I'm not gonna.
Big ass pause.
It's a slow pitch. There, what is?
Anywho, as the machine has collapsed, the night becomes darker. Everything feels a little bit more ominous than perhaps it was before. And in the distance, the faint hum of something deep within the laboratory seems to stir, making you a bit uneasy even more. Kurt. Some point through the night, Gretzky, having trouble sleeping from the experience of his friend almost getting slain, perhaps, startles awake.
Yeah, Prince Albert. What?
You feel it before you see it. A weight pressing down upon your senses, cold, cloying, like a thick smoke creeping into every corner of your mind. The habitat stretches out before you, but it is no longer the sanctuary that it once was. A shadow spills across the ground, an inky darkness that moves with terrible purpose. It consumes everything it touches. The creek's clear water turns black and viscous. Trees wither and twist, their leaves falling like ash, and the once thriving vines shrivel into brittle, lifeless tendrils. You watch as the small creatures scurry in panic, only to be engulfed by this spreading corruption. Their bodies distort, collapsing into twisted husks before crumbling into nothingness. The air itself feels heavy, choking as though the rot were not just a force, but something alive, hungry, unstoppable. Your vision begins to tighten around you, closing in until there's nothing left but this dark rot and the faint sound of a thud resonating like a heartbeat slowing in the silence. And then you gasp awake in the den once again, laying upon your mat. Whatever that vision was, you feel it is important. It means something when you dream like that. It's happened a handful of times before through your many years, but this time it was horrifying. Every other time it's been something simple, whether it be a machine acting strangely, you kind of knew that it was about to happen, or when one of your friends might have gotten hurt from some kind of a test, you had this inkling that there was a danger about it that day. It was never like this. It was never so engulfing. It was never so ominous as it is now. The rest of you awaken. This is a couple of days after that incident. Gordon, you still have the bandage around your beak. That weird ointment has managed to keep things attached, and under the careful care of your healing friend, you feel better. You still talk a little bit funny, perhaps, but...
The first thing I say when I open my eyes and I see Threus, I say, I don't gotta say anymore.
When you wake up, 3 is like nose to beak with you. Oh, hey buddy, you're awake.
Hey 3.
It was crazy.
What happened?
Oh, so I came a little late, but when I showed up, you were all on the ground. You were like, So what I think what happened is that big buzzsaw thing came through and you kind of just walked into it. I don't know why you would do that.
Oh, I just remembered. Oh,
Huh?
Oh, what is it? Where is it? I really don't think we have to go anywhere. If we just stay here.
Hey, it's okay. You're good. Yeah. We took the thing off your foot, though. You're a sleep flailer.
Can I have it back? Can I have it back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. It's just, I didn't want to get stabbed. It was a lot of this.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was Phobos mad? Because I took it. Okay.
No, you almost died, man. You'd
Oh.
be mad that you took his thing.
Oh, well, if all I have to do is almost die, then I can do whatever I want.
Don't do that again.
Okay.
That's not cool. I don't really. I don't like what happened to me after. But you were in trouble, so I had to.
Oh, no.
Something.
Did you almost die too?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. Because nothing's worse than that, right?
Well, yeah, there is something that's worse than that, and it happened. I just don't want it to happen again.
Oh, okay. Well, don't tell me what it is, because I had a bad enough time, but I'm glad that we're okay.
Yeah. Start petting your head again.
As you guys are doing this is when Gretzky startles awake.
Oh, the rack is everywhere, right here. Oh, no.
Hey, Gretzky. Who's Prince Albert?
Well, Sonny, I will tell you a fine tale at some other time.
Okay.
He had a good head on his shoulders or something. until he got a metal ran through it. Anyway, but
Sounds painful.
well, Anyway, I had the strangest, most peculiar dream, and I'm afraid that it might come true. But we have to get to the outside.
Do we have to do we have to really fast? We have to go right now. Can we wait? Can we wait for, I don't know, until I'm 4?
No.
How old are you now?
3.
No, that's me. How old are you now?
I'm not 4 yet.
Oh.
Can you even count?
Me?
No. Gordon.
Hens.
That's not a unit of measurement. Anyway.
Oh, it is in my world, but right now it's none.
Why do we have to go outside? I mean, we had a pretty trying time.
We need to get to the outside. I had a terrible vision, a terrible dream, and if we don't get to the outside and make the world right, and by being in the outside, then it's gonna black stuff's gonna come everywhere, and it's gonna be bad, and it's gonna have tentacles, and it's not gonna be fun or consensual, and it's just gonna be bad.
Okay.
3.
What?
I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, he said, if we don't go outside, everything's gonna be crazy.
I heard it. I just didn't understand what he's.
We're not meant to be here. And
we're not meant to be out there.
We're not meant to be here.
As the three of you are having this conversation, I'm assuming that Caligula and Phobos are not present. Phobos, what are you doing at this point?
Whilst Gordon is recuperating, I had something I wanted to check in with Caligula about. So at some point while we were, while we're just wailing around the day, I think I would show up at the workshop and knock at the door.
Yeah, Caligula, you and Stravinsky have probably converted like a section of the human area to like this giant messy table of just parts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come in. Come on. Come on. Come on.
I love what you've done with the place. Is this safe?
Yeah.
Stravinsky's just shaking his head side to side as he exits the room, holding a bunch of parts in his hand.
I see him like in the Muppets. There's those rats that are the
I love them.
Okay. Hey, I brought you guys something, and I'll give you a little. It's like a bottle of Listerine that's been emptied, and it's been filled with this like slightly greenish liquid. I made that the other day. It's got a bit of a kick to it, but I put a lot of mint in it to kind of cut down a bit on the kick, and I called it Mint the Cream, and it's it'll give you a little buzz.
I think Caligula like picks it up and shakes it by his head really hard, and then looks at it.
You're supposed to drink it. It's great for the breath too.
Tosses it back, takes like a giant swig of it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, what is this? What does this do?
It's just gonna I don't know. It's gonna make you feel good. Like you're gonna just kind of like be like yeah, and little. You're gonna feel no pain for a while, and it's try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to.
Is this for the scratching? Because I've been really good lately, really good. I've been super busy, so I haven't.
Yeah, it should help with that. Anyways, look, don't drink it all in one shot, maybe, but have a couple of shots a night and see how we feel. Call me in the morning. I don't know why I said that. I just heard that somewhere.
The bear. You're friends with the bear, right? You and the bear are friends.
Yeah.
Your buddies.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, 3. I think I make him a little uncomfortable.
Well, he's a big
I have
guy.
this effect on people where I don't know. They just we don't understand each other. I'm not really a people guy. I'm not a people guy. So maybe you could give this to him for me. And he like hands out the axe. I would have been there earlier the other day, but I was looking for something, and I don't know, just I'm not really like a strength guy. I'm more of a head guy. So maybe the big guy could use that.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to. Hold on, let me just put this somewhere else before I drop it on my foot and fucking cut my foot off. Something Gordon would do. I'll put it over to the side. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I was thinking after we fought that thing the other day, and how Gordon got fucking. He almost got deboned. Let's not mince words. And I was thinking like you and I and even Gretzky were a bit more like head guys and all that. And I was thinking if there's things like that, if we go outside, and there's things like that are really dangerous that have like these spinning fucking saw things and whatnot. It might be good to be able to
run fast.
That too, but to like be able to attack him from a distance. And I was remembering. I don't know if you remember, but remember Dewey, the weird sort of crocodile that used to be in Sanctuary number 5. He kind of went bonkers one day, and he came at one of the guards, and they had this thing. It was kind of like a tube, and they pointed it at him, and it kind of went, and then it shot this thing, and it hit Dewey, and like next thing you know, Dewey had all 4 limbs in the air, and I don't know. I think they made a handbag out of him or something, but we never saw him again.
He's the one that ate the clock. It was just ticking all the time, right?
Yeah, that's it, right,
terrible.
right. It was great.
Insane.
Yeah, but you could hear him coming.
Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, it was horrible. I kind of wanted to see what his insides were like, but inside thoughts. Inside thoughts. Yep.
That's probably where you want to keep that particular thought. But what I was thinking was you're like pretty good at making stuff, and you have a surfeit of material here. So I was thinking maybe you could bend your mind to that, like trying to invent something that would like allow us to attack these things from a distance. And then guys like you and me that are not really like, I try to lift the axe and I kind of like pull a muscle, put it back down. We could still be effective and not have to get in the face of these things. Like even if it was like something that shot a stick or something, or
that's a really great idea. And he gets like really uncomfortably close to you. If you ate a clock by chance and your insides started ticking, I promise I won't take you apart.
Well, at least wait till I'm dead. When I die, you can totally take me apart and see how everything works. You might learn something interesting.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You're
no one's ever offered that to me before.
Yeah, but I don't think people appreciate how your brain works.
A lot of people just don't think it works at all.
Oh no, it works. It just kind of takes a few strange detours, but it gets there. And I think that these detours that it takes are what allow you to kind of see things in a different way. And I think that that's good.
Yeah.
So just wait till I'm dead, though, to cut me open, okay?
He drops his visor back down, his little goggles, and kind of spins around to his mass of wires and various metal bits and starts hunching over them. Gonna get back to work. I will work on projectiles. Yes, I like this. This is a great idea. Good job, Phobos.
No problem. And let me know how that mint cream turns out for you.
Yeah, hey, you see Stravinsky, you just send him right back in here. Get him right on the job.
All right, cool.
You look over and you see Stravinsky was standing right by the door the entire time, just huddled into nothingness, so you guys didn't notice that he was there.
As I'm walking away with the axe trailing behind me, I stop by Stravinsky and I'm like, I think you've been summoned, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Stravinsky just kind of walks over, plops down next to Caligula, and he's, Caligula, I don't mind being around you at all. I don't know why anybody else would be bothered by you.
Yeah, that's you're one of the good ones, Stravinsky.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I try.
You and I, we got a different kind of connection, right? We understand each other. We're on a level. You want to try some of this drink? I feel...
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Here. He like passes it aside and passes it to him.
He takes a big old swig. His beady red eyes get like super wide, and and on that note, as Phobos is walking into the room with the three of you, and Gretzky proclaiming wildly that you have to get to the outside.
Yes, and a hen is not a unit of measurement.
When I see Phobos, I can't control myself. I run across the room and I throw my arms around him and I give him a big hug. I hold it for a couple of seconds and then I don't look at him and I just pat him on the chest. Thanks for helping me out and not being mad about the scalpel. Okay.
That's the most awkward shit I've ever seen.
It was really tense for some reason.
I know, right?
Oh, I feel better. It was just, it's just it's been on my mind for the last little bit, however long it's been.
7 minutes.
Okay, so that answers the question about who can count around here. 7 minutes, Phobos. I've been waiting to see you for 7 minutes, man. Thank you very much for... I'm not touching it. No, I'm not touching it, but it's healing. And I can't thank you enough. It has ever since I
the judge of that. Can you stop moving your lips? It's hard to... Well, your beak, it's hard to follow when you're... I'll check it. It's not bad. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to hold forever, so be careful, maybe, especially biting down on stuff for a little while. How's your head? How many fingers am I holding up?
7?
Yeah, good.
2. It's 2. Okay.
We don't, yeah, also, I see you got my knife there on your foot.
Yeah, I thought it would be really, cool. Maybe even useful.
It's good. What I think you should do when you have time is you should talk to Caligula and ask him if he could make you like some kind of brace so that it wouldn't be kind of flip-floppy all over the place like that, and maybe like it could flip back up and down, like you could retract it so that you wouldn't hurt yourself and others.
Did I hurt myself?
No, but it's a little dangerous. So you can talk to Caligula when you have a chance. Speaking of Caligula, 3.
Huh? What's that?
I bring up this huge axe. Caligula wanted me to give you this as a gift.
Why?
To help if in case we find one of those machine things again. So you grab it here. So you grab it like this. And then go, hold on. Be careful. That part's the dangerous part. So you put that part in the enemies, and then you hold it by this part.
Okay.
You saw the other day Gretzky with his thing, right? That you basically, that's what you want to do, but you want to be successful.
Wait a goddamn minute now.
Hold on. Okay. He does one of these, but then surprisingly, he just like flourishes it really well. And he's like
Conan with his Atlantean sword.
Is anybody else slightly alarmed by this display of motion?
This is surprisingly light.
Great.
3. Caligula was a little bit, I think, nervous or shy about coming to give it to you because he thinks that maybe you find him a little kind of off-putting or odd, and I told him that you didn't, but if you see Caligula and want to maybe thank him for the gift or something like that, that'd probably be nice.
Absolutely not. Caligula is scary as shit. I'm not.
Caligula is odd as fuck.
He's odd, but he's not scary. He just thinks a little differently than the rest of us. You know how. Okay, look.
It's not his brain I'm afraid of.
I like it when he doesn't laugh.
I think he laughs on the inside.
No.
He laughs on the outside too.
Yeah,
He's very audible.
So like he just, you know how some of us crawl and some of us walk on all fours and some of us climb and some of us don't climb, and then, you know, like people just have a different approach to how they interact with the world sometimes, and it's perfectly fine. You just have to it takes a little bit of adjustment, but you know, I think you're just gonna relax and, you know, give them a chance. I think you'll see that there's a very interesting brain working there.
From down the corridor, you just hear.
And ignore the creepy laughter.
3 puts his hand on Phobos' shoulder and he goes, "Listen, I'm not blind to the fact that people are different. We all have our ways of life about us, to where we walk, crawl, fly, or run. It's just a revolving time, okay? I understand. It takes different types to make the habitat do its thing.
Or jump.
Or jump. People do jump. And that's not my problem. Caligula is scary as shit. That's my problem. I don't care what they do. They talk about taking people's insides. That's not scary to you?"
I told Caligula they could take my insides out once I die. Might be able to learn something.
See, listen, I'm not intolerant. I'm just scared. It's the difference.
Yeah, but there's no need to be scared, man. There's a lot of scarier things out there, and we're gonna need to be a pretty close bunch if we're going to make it through out there.
Phobos is not wrong, but there is a healthy respect, the line there between fear and healthy survival instincts kind of kicking in. Those are.
I feel like everybody's turning this against me because
no, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. I keep this stick. You see, as long as Caligula is at this stick's length, then I know I'm safe. If they get any closer, it's kind of an iffy situation.
All I want to know is who smiles that much.
When they're sleeping, because they're not laughing scarily all the time, and when they wake up, it's a horrific time. Other than that, wonderful guy.
Okay. Just if you see him from across the habitat, maybe wave at him and show him the axe. And
is he gonna come with us to the outside?
I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what he and Stravinsky plan. I think they're kind of shacking up.
Oh, well.
Are they over there right now?
Physics of that are mind-boggling, but you know, him being a rat and him being a hyena, but you know, whatever. Anyway, we got to get to the outside, or if not, the big black goo is gonna get everything.
The what?
Oh yeah,
the big black goo.
Non-consensual goo.
Yeah, non-consensual. The non-consensual.
That's what you said. It was specific. You went like this. You woke up, you said, Prince Albert, non-consensual. That's what you said.
Oh, I was wondering.
Why is everybody looking? Exactly.
I didn't understand. I didn't catch all the words.
Well, you were still kind of out of it.
Yeah. Do you need medical attention, Gretzky?
Yes.
Consensually.
I'll may I perform the Heimlich on you?
No, you cannot perform the Heimlich.
Well, then focus. Tell me, what are you talking about?
Here, I'm dying slowly, okay?
Well, we all are. When you think about it, we start dying the moment we're born.
I had a vision.
So tell
all
me
right,
about
and all the little furry creatures and everything that was in the outside was being corrupted and destroyed and eaten by the black goo, with little tentacles coming out of it, and it was very scary. Okay,
so non-consensual.
It's
because we weren't outside to defend it. That's why they were all like little bunnies and shit. Yeah.
And it's at this moment that the laboratory lights flicker once.
Oh, God damn it.
And then twice before plunging everything into total darkness. The familiar hum that had been reverberating from the walls, the last bit of normalcy of noise that you had, goes silent. And for a moment in that silence, you feel the deafening crush of the void that is left, the absence of light, the absence of all noise other than your own heart pounding in your chest. And then, after several moments of this, a low mechanical click, happens and the emergency lights come on. Instead of the previous relatively normal, somewhat cool glow of light that you had before, you are now surrounded by shadows broken periodically by amber light flooding the space in various parts. Everything is extremely dark, even with the emergency lights on. They cast long, jagged shadows across everything. The habitat in particular is almost completely pitch dark. And as you all venture to try to gather yourselves together in this scary moment of darkness that has occurred, a glow starts to emanate from the direction of the habitat. A pale, almost sickly green hue, kind of like flickers a little bit. None of you have ever seen a candle before, but that's what it looks like. You venture out into the space to try to find the origin of where this light might be coming from, and as you move through, the glow becomes brighter. Bright enough that the shadows that you cast, as well as the trees, become smaller and smaller. Until you see, Gretzky, a patch of ground in front of you. A shadow there that isn't shrinking. This patch of ground where some vines have begun to twist in unnatural shapes. Their surfaces slick and glistening as though covered with slime. The glow spreads slowly, oozing outward from a far corner like a liquid malevolence, which edges staining the ground black and brittle. All of you are surrounded very quickly by this rot. And unfortunately, you breathe it in. I need for each of you to please roll a d6 for me. Any of you roll ones, please let me know. Everyone good? Okay. You all suffer 1 rot point, but it is not permanent. You can add that to your character sheet next to where your feral points are at. As you all inhale this malevolence, you feel it creep in through your nose and you cough violently, each of you, and some of you react in certain ways, like some of you become short of breath, others you hack up this, globule of spittle that as it escapes and lands upon the ground, you see it begin to smoke and turn black. Everything feels horrible to you, and you all start retreating quickly back. As you move back away from this ooze, or away from this rot, you can see that it is relatively quickly beginning to corrupt the space of the habitat. And behind you, you hear this reverberating thud. You are thrown off so much from the experience of the rot, and then all of a sudden, in addition, the sound from behind you aren't sure what direction to even look or what to do. And Kurt, Gretzky, having experienced the vision before, gets his senses about him the quickest. It might be because it's the oldest, it might be because it's the vision, but somehow he knows definitively that while the rot is dangerous, the further you go away from it, the better off you'll be. And so you quickly start pulling everyone away from that and go in search of the noise. And there, as you search through the various rooms of the laboratory, you find it. You find the doors, held askew and open. that showing? There we go. Held askew and open, these heavy steel doors with the strange writing on them that you had spotted before, that had always been closed, that had always been immovable, that had always prevented you from going anywhere. In the amber lights of this emergency lighting, the rot behind you, the doors now sit open. A black void beyond. You can't see very far, but there it is. Your potential and only escape. And that's where we're going to take our break, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to need a bigger arc.
Welcome back, everyone. We have returned. The doors have opened. The rot has found its way into the habitat. And there you all stand in front of the doors. The obvious threat of the rot behind you, the obvious danger of a darkened corridor ahead. What would you all like to do?
I want to start off by saying for the last 7 minutes, every time I catch Caligula's eye, I wave.
That's oddly specific.
It's what Phobos said to do.
You're supposed to do it every 7 minutes? You're gonna just keep waving?
I don't know. I actually want to say something to Caligula, but I thought I'd start off by waving like Phobos said.
Hey, Caligula! Hey!
He does like a slow turn.
Gordon wants to say something. I also kind of want to say something too.
Did that saw really do a number on your head? You've been waving.
Yeah, because I don't want you to think that I think that you're scary. And I got that blade that chopped me in the pecker, and I've got this, and I show my scalpel. And Phobos said that I should talk to you about getting a harness made so I don't hurt myself. Maybe like I could retract it and then snap it out when I want to use it. I don't know if the blade would work like that, but I don't want to hurt myself either with the blade.
I think at this point he's like dropped his goggles down and he's grabbing your ankles and like lifting your feet and doing like measurements with his hands.
I'm looking at 3.
Using your hand is a unit of measurement, so this will just take a short amount of time.
Yeah, a hand is not a measurement, but a hand is. We measure horses with hands.
Really?
Tell Gretzky a hand is a user. I can't. What's Caligula doing?
This.
You see him like kind of drop your foot and like he's going through his bag and pulling out random strips of like wiring. He has like bits of cloth in there. Yeah, I think I could do something with that. I think I could figure that out. But I feel like we maybe have like a bigger situation. And he like points the door.
We do.
Focus.
Well, there's a bigger situation. Hi, bigger situation. Were we looking? This will be quick. Hi. I, on the other hand, think you're very scary, and it does not make me intolerant. It's just you frighten me. But we're gonna be a team. For what? I don't know. I think we're gonna be battling non-consent. I don't know how that would work, but
we're gonna save the world and the outside.
I keep saying
we're gonna save
that.
the outside. And he has like this knapsack thing that he found, and he rubbles there, and he's like, I'm not really good at putting things together as you are, but I have kind of found some like respite in doing this. And he pulls out these like 4 small pieces, and he's like putting them together, and then he's like, oh wait, hold on, and and he pulls out like a wire and he strings this bow, and he's like, it's a bit crude, but I don't know, maybe you could like jazz it up. Thank you for the axe.
This is brilliant. And he takes it and he's doing one of these and kind of, he draws it like right at you and looks up to you.
Okay. That's crazy. This way. So,
do you like the axe?
Did
you get the axe?
I love the axe.
Yeah.
So and as he's like talking to you, he's backing up. He's like, so you enjoy that as a warm gift? Please don't kill me. I'd like my insides in. Okay. And then walks away. Hey.
Well, now that we're done having Christmas time and exchanging fucking gifts, can we get the hell out of here?
Oh, yeah. It's really dark, but... And he, like, again, drops his goggles. I think I can handle this. And he starts moving forward to the crack in the door and, like, sticks his head through it. Does, like, he has, like, a here's Johnny moment through the door.
Sure. So as you approach the door, the first thing that catches you is the cool air, the draft of cool air that kind of filters through the gap. And there's an unfamiliar odor that comes through that, but there's also a lot of familiar odors as well. It's not quite... The air in the habitat has always been what you thought the natural world would smell like. But now you're smelling it for the first time. The air from the tunnel is not filtered. It's not sterilized. It's natural. And with the gap in the doors the way it is, that wall of air that hits you almost stuns you for a second. And particularly the hyena's sense of smell and your perceptive abilities, it takes you several moments to actually come to terms with how strange the air you've smelled your entire life is. And as you inhale this true aroma of the world, it's like something clicks in your mind. You feel an earnest desire to leave now. Whereas perhaps before it wasn't quite as true, like there was parts of everything that made you want to stay where you were. There was so much to do, there was so much to scavenge, there was so much occupying you. Now there's a little bit more focus that you have smelled air. Not run through filters and machines, but real, true air. And as you look out into the space, you see before you walls made of metal. There's some mist that floats in through various spots, various ventilation grates, various lights in the far distance that are just barely illuminated. And everything is a lot more clear to you because you're wearing the visor, but there's still an artificial sense to it. But there's that air. There's that real world air that you're smelling, despite what everything looks like, despite the metal and the unnatural state, the construction of things. The air is what you hold on to. And although the tunnel before you looks horrifyingly dangerous, you aren't quite sure if it's more dangerous than what's behind you, than what is slowly overtaking the habitat. But before you see this long tunnel stretching out well beyond the edges of your vision.
Smell that, boys. It smells like freedom.
What is it, Friday?
And he takes a swig from his Listerine bottle, hands it down to Stravinsky.
Stravinsky's just like been there the whole time, reaches up, grabs onto it, takes the tiniest little sip because, he doesn't want to get wrecked before capping it back.
Caligula's so far gone. I think that big scrapyard's out there waiting for us, bud.
You mean the big outside, right?
Yeah, the big outside. Right. Well, no time like the present.
Does that mean we're leaving?
Yeah, of course. We can't stay here. You see that stuff?
Okay, yeah, we should get our stuff then. I'm gonna go get my stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody go get your stuff.
And food. Don't forget food.
Food. Yeah.
Anything we can eat.
Yeah. God, that smells good.
I just had this terrible taste in my mouth ever since the asshole tree. Nothing tastes all that good to me. Anyway, I don't mean to be a downer.
I hand Gordon a little bit of that mint cream. This does wonders for. Just swirl that around your mouth a bit.
Thank you. I taste it.
I'm thinking of calling it after 8, because when I made it, it was 7:59.
I know about 7. I learned about 7 from 3.
Okay, there.
I don't know if the formula is quite right, Phobos. No offense, but it's better than anything I've tasted in the last 7 days.
Okay, it's a start.
Thank you. I'm gonna go get my stuff.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go get my stuff, and I head back to the camp.
You guys scavenge through the various holes that you hide things in, your dens, whatever cupboards or containers that you can manage to scavenge together. You do what you can, gathering up whatever bits of food, finding a few bottles or jugs or things that you can hold water in. You start kind of weighing yourselves down a bit, but not enough to slow anything. Is there anything of note that you all gather or scavenge or like to let me know of before you venture off into the tunnel beyond the doors?
Gretzky just contemplates whether or not he's going to tell him that's Listerine.
I think Caligula does one more pass over his workspace to see if there's anything else that he can kind of like form into a makeshift weapon before he leaves it for the last time.
Sure. Go ahead and do another scavenge check for your stash.
While Caligula's doing that, Gordon wants to look for some sort of body protection, something that can keep from my beak getting knocked off again, and my head from being separated from my beautiful shoulders.
Okay. Go ahead and do, for you, this is going to be we'll call it a scout roll first.
Right.
We'll see what you get with that. What'd you get, Creep?
I got 2 successes.
Are you going to push it or are you going to leave it at 2?
I think I'm going to leave it.
Okay. So you can find a spiked club.
Okay.
Basically, you take a section of some like human-sized stool and tear off one of the legs of it. And this is something that you had made a while ago, but you had rammed a few sharp bits across the end and tied it with some maybe leather or whatever fabric that had been the seat cushion of that stool. What'd you get, Ty?
I got just a straight failure, so I'm going to push it.
Push it.
Well, hell. I got a nuclear on one of my skill dice.
Yep. So that's a failure and a point of confusion.
Isn't that your normal state, though?
Well, yeah, but I figured I found this metal stuff that's really shiny. It's kind of crinkly and it's really flexible. And I tried to wrap it around myself, and it just doesn't even stick. It just falls off, and I don't know why it's not working.
Do you rub it between your beak?
I'm not touching my beak with anything except the minimal list of food and any green drink that you passed me.
As the aluminum foil that you had found, that you had tried to wrap yourself with, falls to the ground, it occurs to you that you could make a helmet out of it, and it would absolutely protect you.
Oh yeah, I can reinforce my falcon hood.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Now the rest of you know that this is not going to do anything, but
Phobos, look, this stuff fits.
Gordon believes 100% that this is going to protect his head from buzzsaws.
Yep.
I help him put it together with some crazy glue.
I think Caligula spends some time convincing him that it'll help him so the machines don't talk to him in his mind.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it keeps out the waves, the radio waves getting to your mind, and they can't talk to you, convince you of things.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, you're
Good.
safe.
Yeah.
Phobos, do you have anything else that you're doing?
I'm gonna make sure to go around and grab all the any herbs and or first aid products that I have kind of lying around, just to make sure that I have a supply of everything. And to carry all of that, I'm gonna go and if that's okay with you, I want to go and get this blanket that I've had for a while. That's this checkered blanket that's been kind of like a tartan color, and I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna sort of fold it around myself a few times, and then kind of stuff all my herbs and all my stuff in it, and then fold it over again and sort of tie it to myself, and hopefully this can kind of serve as a blanket out there when it gets cold, but it's also kind of like, very fashionable, and it allows me to hold my stuffs.
Yeah. So who is leading this foray into the tunnel beyond the doors?
Gretzky.
I can't see in the dark.
I think Caligula would be very close behind whoever leads, or even at their side with his goggles on.
Well, I'm not much of a scout. I don't mind going, but
Stravinsky and Caligula then are basically at the lead. The rest of you kind of trailing behind, three, keeping everyone protected from whatever dangers might come up from behind.
I think Caligula would turn around and look at Gordon and say, "Are you scared?
No.
Are you sure you're not scared? You're coming off as a little bit scared. Maybe you're scared. Aren't you supposed to be the strong, tough cock?"
I close my eyes and I wave at you. Okay, no, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, no.
Do you want me up there?
I feel like you should be. I feel like
I have been watching
strong, tough guy.
I have my hat. My helmet is going to protect me.
Yep. No mind control. Hey, wait. I got an idea. And he pulls a length of wiring out and gets down by your ankles and starts his hands are just whipping, and he's tying them very tightly around the little scraps of metal you have to your ankles. Harnesses. I didn't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look, see, now you're prepared.
Yeah. 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 And there might be 7 hens out there.
There might be. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah, I believe in you.
Good thing Gordon can't count. Thank you so much, Wanderer's Haven, for the raid. Shout out to you, Jeremy. We appreciate it. As you all step through the doors, the air grows colder. Darkness envelops the tunnel. Hey, Ian's back.
Hey.
Can you hear us, Ian? Okay. Oh, just in time for Critic Chronicles to also raid. Thank you so much, Critic Chronicles. Welcome in, raiders.
Nice.
Our mutant adventurers are leaving their little sanctum and heading off into the great unknown now. Darkness envelops the tunnel ahead. The weak glow of your surroundings fading into an oppressive void. Caligula, Gordon, and Stravinsky headed out in front. Caligula, you're the one who's actually leading this fray at all, but thankfully it only really goes one direction at the moment. The walls here are fairly smooth, cracked in places. Faint scent of oil and something metallic still lingers in the air, but it still has that aroma about it. The fact that it is not filtered, not purified, not sterile, actually has an effect on each of you now. And with each step, you are perhaps a little bit unnerved by the sound of this pressing silence. The path stretches forward, long, unbroken, and it feels almost endless. Your instincts sharpen as this unfamiliar surroundings press in upon you, each breath heavy with the unknown. The further you move, the more the air seems to affect you. You can feel a subtle hum emanating from the walls. It's very faint at first. You almost dismiss it, but the further you go away from where your home was, the louder it gets. Suddenly, Caligula, you spotted it a little bit ahead, but fairly happens upon you fairly quickly. The tunnel widens into a T intersection. The corridor splits, one branch leading left, the other right. There's a faint draft that flows from the left, cooler, sharper, pulling at your senses, and you begin to turn that way. And you're only a few feet beyond when it happens. A blinding white light floods the tunnel ahead of you, so bright that it burns against the shadows. Your eyes strain to adjust. Caligula, you have to lift your mask above your head, and you're blinking profusely, trying to keep yourself from going blind. Your eyes strain. The floor beneath your feet begins to tremble. A low, guttural rumble rises in intensity before it transforms into a thunderous roar that echoes violently through this confined space, the vibration growing stronger, rattling everything around you. The walls themselves shake, the bones in your body shake as the sound of grinding metal fills the air, and then it appears ahead of you, barreling through the corridor in front of you, a massive machine hurtling forward at terrifying speed. Those of you that even have a moment of celerity, able to contemplate, can feel that familiar sensation, that rumble that had occasionally appeared below the edges of the door is now in front of you. This hulking form occupying the entirety of the tunnel, leaving no room to maneuver, no space to hide, its enormous metal chassis gleaming in the artificial light that it produces, and the deafening roar that seems to drown out all thought. More than anything else, you only have your instinct at this moment, and all of your instincts are screaming in unison, run. Without hesitation, your legs carry you back, going the opposite direction from which you turned, your feet pounding against the unyielding floor as you can hear, feel, and those of you that dare to glance over your shoulders can see this machine closing in behind you. I need for each of you, please, to roll a move check.
Can I use is there a way for me to use my climber, which allows me to spend 1 FP to avoid a conflict without rolling the move, as long as there are trees or buildings or something for me to climb along?
Unfortunately, in this case, there isn't anything for you to escape from except the one direction that you have to run. It would be the same effect as before of spending a feral point to increase your move check. And I'll let you, if you're using that, add yellow dice instead of, or green dice instead of yellow dice if you want to do that. So you don't get the penalty of rolling ones if you end up pushing it. It's up to you. So, roll those move checks, please, and decide if you're adding any feral points.
I added a feral point, and I still rolled like crap.
I got 2 successes.
Who's okay? What'd you get, Kurt?
All dice have been canceled?
So that's a failure. Did you push the roll?
Not yet.
Are you going to?
I don't know, Miko. I gotta push the roll.
Well, here, let me ask you this. What's your agility?
1. I'm old.
If you push the roll, because you did roll 1-1 in that, if you push the roll, you will be at 0 agility, which that's not knocked out, but you become exhausted. And so you may succeed, but you may not, and it could be really bad if you don't. So
wow.
I
YOLO.
I rolled no successes, so I pushed and got a 6.
Okay.
I got 2 successes on a push it. Real good. Yeah.
So you take your 1 point of dexterity damage. You become physically exhausted. Ty, what'd you get?
I got 2 failures, so I am also pushing.
Okay.
And remind me, we have to use a feral point to push, right?
No, you don't have to use a feral point to push. But you can to get extra dice on the push if you want.
Oh my god. Wait, why did I keep the 2? It says I kept my 2 ones, so I don't know why.
Yeah, you always keep your ones.
Oh, great. Well, then that's all I got out of this. Because my push roll failed.
Okay. So your push roll completely failed. You also take 2 points of dexterity damage. What about you 3? What'd you get?
I failed my push roll too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was going to be 3 sessions. It might just be 2.
Well, we'll remember you fondly.
That's fine.
Caligula's running. He's hearing people next to him, and then suddenly it's silence at all sides.
I'm there. I didn't fail.
Okay, good.
So Gretzky succeeded but became exhausted. Caligula succeeded with 2 dice. Caligula, you succeeded with 2 dice. That is a stunt. You now get to decide which of your 2 companions that failed you want to help.
Help the chicken.
I think because Gordon would have been right with him, it makes sense for him to have reached out and grabbed Gordon.
Okay.
Can I add an action to that, or because I could potentially help one of the other 2?
What are you thinking?
I have a potion of invigoration, and it restores fatigue.
Save it for now. It'll become important in a minute, because it would not help. It would not help Ian's character. Yeah. So Ian, you failed and you got 1 point of damage to dexterity, but I'm assuming you have more than 1 dexterity that you can actually take that and not be exhausted. So,
yeah.
All right. I'm rolling for Stravinsky. Okay. The tunnel becomes a blur of darkness and periodic lights. The amber hues of the emergency lights still occur every now and then within the tunnel. Your feet pound against the cold floor, the roar of the machine behind you deafening everything, the vibrations shaking the very walls as if everything around you might collapse under its relentless pursuit. Its light, that enormous yellow, pale glow that almost feels like it's burning your backs with how bright it is, seems to get brighter and hotter with every second that you flee. Ahead of you, as you have gone down the path that you had not chosen initially, you see a break in the shadows. Another set of doors, massive, reinforced, and slightly ajar, much like the ones leading out of your laboratory that you had called home, just barely wide enough for you to squeeze through. Hope surges through you at this notion of a lifeline ahead, and with every ounce of strength, the air tearing at your lungs as the machine's thunderous approach swallows everything except the pounding of your hearts. One by one, you reach the opening, forcing yourselves through the narrow gap. Caligula first, dragging a stumbling and battered Gordon along the path. Gordon, at some point, you end up clocking your head into a section of wall, not enough to damage, but enough to disorient you, perhaps. Followed immediately by Phobos behind, who has just reached out and grabbed onto Gretzky's stick and yanked Gretzky through. Gretzky taking a last gasp as his legs were about to completely fall out from under him, getting yanked through the door with Gretzky collapses down at Phobos' feet, breathing heavily. And all of you turn and look and see Stravinsky running, and behind him, 3 stumbling. 3 bounces off of a wall here and there, constantly looking over his head at this machine behind him, scaring every moment of wit that he possibly has out of him. He stumbles to his feet, or off of his feet onto his knees. And just as he does, Stravinsky sees, turns, grabs onto 3, and with a roar of feral ferocity, hauls 3 to his feet, and the 2 of them start running together. The machine barreling closer behind them, the frame filling the tunnel as this crescendo of scream, grinding metal almost deafens all of you. You all can see Stravinsky's red eyes wide as 3 is looking around in just as much fear as the rest. And there's a moment that all of you come to the realization the same time Stravinsky does. But perhaps 3 does not, until there's that pause when Stravinsky stops and shoves 3 through the doorway. 3, being as massive as he is, blocks out the entirety of the door. All you hear, because you cannot see, is a sickening thud as the machine slams into the doors. The crushing weight of it, nearly unstoppable. But the doors manage to hold, the frame of them buckling ever so slightly, but holding. 3, occupying that gap in the door, staggers back beside the rest of you. And as he staggers back onto the ground, none of you see Stravinsky.
I think Caligula starts to panic. And if nobody stops him, he's going to run to that opening in the door.
You run to the opening. It is completely blocked now by the machine that had been chasing you. There's no gap. There's just the opening of the doors, the thickness, the 8-inch thick steel that was there, and then the machine. It is hot. It is steaming. But you can feel its hum, its vibration stopping, slowing, getting quieter. The light that had been up above that has now been completely blocked, you can see just the barely slivers of light poking through the seams, but they're diminishing too.
What's the floor like there? Is it metal?
Yes.
I think Caligula, you hear him and he's just going, Stravinsky, bud, friend, and he's clawing at the floor there, like so violently that it's leaving red trails where his nails are starting to shred against the metal.
As your nails are digging into this metal, you're creating grooves in it easily enough. And as you said, you can't feel the pain of it, but there's definite pain there. And as you keep doing that, a bit of blood starts coming through underneath the machine that isn't yours. The rest of you see this as well.
No.
Do I, Miko, with maybe with a healing soda, get any idea whether or not I think that there's anything left of Stravinsky out there to help?
Phobos is smart enough to know that nothing could have survived that. The machine takes up almost the entirety of the tunnel. Whatever it was massive. It would have crushed 3 even, as massive as he is. And there wouldn't have been an ounce of him left. Stravinsky being as small as he was.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you see the blood pouring through from underneath.
I'm gonna let Caligula have a moment, but then I think Phobos will approach very gently behind and go, we gotta go, mate. We can't stay here.
We can't leave him. We can't leave him. And his confusion starts melding into rage, and he pulls the spiked club off his back and just starts slamming it into that open space between the doors where that machine is occupying, and just feverishly trying to break through and make space.
Every strike of the spiked club upon the metal of the machine just sends an echo rippling down the tunnel behind you.
I'm gonna look over at 3 and kind of signal for him to come and help me. We'll approach. I'll go along.
He's super serious. He's like, I'm not doing that.
Caligula, listen to me.
I think he does this so much and with such fervor that he breaks himself down. He wears himself out because he's not a strong guy. This isn't what he's built for. It's pretty quick for him to wear out. And after a few minutes of this, and once the adrenaline, that initial adrenaline push kind of begins to subside, he just kind of falls against it and slides down in front and grows silent.
As you grow silent, it's worth mentioning, Kurt, that just because you're exhausted does not mean you're unconscious. When you lose all of your...
Okay.
Yeah, okay. When you lose all of your dexterity, you just become exhausted. So while you're certainly not necessarily as coherent as Gretzky might normally be, he is still aware of what's happening around him.
Okay.
What is Gretzky doing in this moment?
I think he leans very heavily on his stick and where his ears would normally be somewhat perked up underneath his hood, they just kind of like drop down, and his face drops down, and he just kind of pulls out the photo album, and he opens it up to like a blank page, and he just begins to, like, with his claw, try and etch, because those pages are a little thicker, right? He tries to etch a picture of a rat on it briefly, and then closes it up. Tell the great outside, we're all free. And at that moment, he's weighing the fact that he led them out here, that he believes in the great outside, and that is where they all belong. But in turn, he got one of his own killed. And so he's just kind of trying to regain what breath he can, but also waiting for them to all start yelling at him. And he just kind of trembles a little bit, not lifting his eyes up, just doing the half look up thing as he leans on his staff, trying to catch his breath.
What about you, Caligula? I'm sorry, not Caligula, Gordon. I meant Todd. What is Gordon doing in this moment?
I'm over by 3, and I say 3 where I think something happened to Caligula's rat boy. We're gonna have to wave to him a lot more, I think, in the next couple of days, because it doesn't look good from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of that looks like some blood, and if Caligula helped get me out of the way of that thing, and the rat helped you, and so I think maybe we have to be nice.
The reason not acknowledging you at all, he's still looking at the door, and he's still shaking his head no from like when Phobos like asked him to come help him, and like now like his face is wet because he's been crying in this moment.
I'll pat your big furry leg.
He didn't have to do that. I could have gotten up. I just was scared is all. It's my fault. That's my fault.
Hey, come on. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was Grisky's fault. It's not your fault.
No, that's not. That's mine. I should have been faster. I should have grabbed him. He could have. Why did he? And they just kind of like zones out a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna scoot over by Phobos and say, Phobos, I think 3 needs some of your green drink over there.
I think Phobos is checking in on Caligula, and is Caligula like calm down now, or
yeah, he's kind of just like at this point he's calm. He's panting a little bit from making a big ruckus, but he's just staring at this point. Just you can see behind his eyes he's just gone, staring down at the blood of his friend.
I think that Phobos, still kneeling next to Caligula, is going to put his hand on Caligula's shoulder and is going to look up at 3 and the others and going to say, there's a story about a group of people who lived within 4 walls. They couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. They didn't have the ability to decide what they wanted to do. There were machines that told them where to go and when to go there and what to do when they got there, and they never really got to make decisions for themselves. And then things changed one day, things altered, and the machines went away and the doors opened, and suddenly the the people who had been living inside these four walls, they had to make an important decision. And it was the first time in their lives that they got to make a decision. The decision was whether or not they stepped through those doors, whether or not they went to see what was beyond those walls that had encircled them for so long. And in making that first decision, they discovered what it meant to have freedom and to decide for yourself, but they also discovered that it meant that once you decide for yourself, you also have to accept responsibility for the things that you do, but no one's responsible. We all decided to come out here to follow this fresh air, this idea, this dream that Gretzky had. Stravinsky did it the same that we did. He decided to go on this adventure with us. He could have stayed behind, but he wanted to see what was out there. He wanted to see what was beyond those walls. And when it came down to it, he didn't hesitate. He did what he had to do to make sure that 3 would get through that door. And I think that we have to honor that, and we have to go and see what's beyond there, because Stravinsky was the smallest one of us all, but he made the biggest sacrifice. He stood up taller than any of us, and he stood up broader than any of us, and he got us through. Now we have to honor that. We made the decision, all of us, to step out here and do this, and some of us may have to live with some responsibilities down the line about that, but as long as we keep moving forward and we keep following this dream, at least, and this is the most important part, at least when our time comes, when the machine gets us or something else gets us, something worse, or we will have decided, we will have gone there. It will not have been decided for us. It will be free will that got us there, and everything that we see between now and our time is that much more than anybody else that was here with us before never got to see. Even Stravinsky saw so much more than any of the others. And at least, God damn it, it'll be because we decided to go, and not because we were told to go and we failed a fucking test. So we're gonna pick ourselves up. I start passing my ball of creme de menthe around. We're gonna take a swig of this shit. I know it tastes like ass, but that's all right. It's not from the ass tree 3, so you're all right. We're gonna pick ourselves up. We're gonna get our shit together, and we're gonna keep walking. We're gonna keep moving out there. And when we get out there, we're gonna find the most beautiful spot that we can. Maybe somewhere where there's light and air and good fresh water and beautiful scent, and we're gonna dig a little hole, and we're gonna put something of Stravinsky's in there, and we're gonna say, thank you, Stravinsky. Thank you for pushing us through that door and getting us here. What do you say? Woo! Good enough. You're right, Caligula? Do you have something of Stravinsky's?
I think Caligula reaches down and presses a paw into the pooling blood and reaches over his shoulder and wipes it up his back and over his shoulder. And then he turns around and looks to the group. We got a scrapyard to find. And kind of pushes through.
I'll make sure no one gets too drunk. Taking the mint cream back.
Yeah.
You right there, you old codger? Have a swig of this.
I don't drink mouthwash.
No, it's something else. It should put a little spring back in your step. It's made with something called Tabasco. I don't know, but it's gonna like activate you. So just, shoot it back.
You can't read, can you?
No, just shoot it back.
Okay. I think he takes a capful and like swishes it around in his mouth like it's supposed to be used, and then
It'll heal your fatigue.
Okay.
Is that right? A little bit more pepper next time?
Maybe a scotch of lemon.
Oh, lemon. I hadn't thought of that. What's a lemon?
Like an apple, but yellow. You
All
didn't
right.
have to do the Identify the Fruits program?
No, I had these things called veggie tables.
Oh. Did they? Never mind.
Did you say apple?
Oh god, the cocks are...
I think I had the wrong word. Because I took that test.
You catch on quick, Gordon. You really do, buddy.
You know what? We're all learning.
We are. Anybody else need a little pick me up? Or are you good?
I need for each of you to please roll a d6 for me.
Is this for the swig? Because I didn't take
Nope.
one.
It is not.
Okay.
Oh, you little face.
What in the hell is going on?
What'd you get, Bleak?
4.
For Creep?
4.
Ian?
3.
Kurt?
Oh?
5.
5.
Okay. So, over the course of the next 3 days, each of you will need to mark off 1 point of food ration for each day and 1 point of water ration for each day. Those of you that suffered any damage to your dexterity will need to mark off an extra point of water ration for each point of dexterity damage that you took.
I don't have that much water.
I'll share and give you 1.
Okay.
I got some extra. Yeah, I got
You
some
said
extra
3
water.
days?
Anybody got an extra food ration?
I give you
Yeah.
a food ration.
Okay. Shank.
I'm almost out of food, and I'm definitely out of water.
Yeah, I'm definitely out of water too.
I got water. I ain't got no food.
I got a little bit of water.
I've heard
Yeah, I
you can
got
drink
alcohol.
piss. It's sterile.
I have alcohol.
Yeah, we're good.
I think we're going to need some more, though.
Some more alcohol?
I don't know what that is, but I think we're going to need more food and water.
You didn't really do good at the test, did you? Okay, it's fine.
Was that on the fruit test? I
The
don't really- I
days
don't-
blur together
Maybe the word is alcohol.
as you move through the shadowed corridors of the facility. Your footsteps, the only sound in the oppressive silence. Every now and then, you feel a vibration in the walls, and it sets you on edge of some machine coming out of nowhere to attack you. But none come. The air is colder, and it feels almost heavier the more that you explore. There's a faint metallic tang that kind of sticks to the back of your throat, but still, it has that aroma of nature that none of you have ever truly experienced before, and that keeps serving as a motivation in a way. The lights, where they still function, flicker intermittently, casting shadows that sometimes play tricks upon your minds. Other areas that you find are steeped in complete darkness. And throughout all of this, you tread carefully, every step a bit uncertain. The walls that perhaps once were pristine and sterile, however long ago it might have been, now stand cracked and stained in many, many places. Some pathways you find blocked by rubble with jagged edges of concrete and metal jutting out almost like broken teeth in a maw. You step cautiously around debris at times. One thing is absolutely certain to you the further that you go. This place, whatever remnants of this facility, have been long abandoned, set to suffering against time and disrepair. You pass other laboratories, much like the one that you came from. Their glass observation windows coated in thin layers of grime. And inside you can see what remains of lives cut short. Cages so much like the ones of your den that lie open or overturned, their occupants long gone. Some of them you find skeletons of obviously mutant animals much like your own. Some of them different than you. Some of them hauntingly the same. They almost all rest in various unnatural positions, their twisted forms a reminder of whatever cruel fate that they might have suffered however long ago that was. And the silence of all of this is suffocating. Other areas appear almost untouched by time, eerily preserved, rows of long dead computer terminals that sit dormant, their screens maybe cracked or frozen with strange messages and glyphs and pictograms upon the screens. Various cabinets and doors that stand ajar, their contents spilled haphazardly upon the floor. Everything about what you find indicates that whoever was here, the people that might have once been in this place before mutant creatures such as yourselves, they left hurriedly. They left without care. They left in a rush that cannot be explained by anything that you find. And yet other portions of this facility are decrepit and ravaged by collapse. Ceilings caved in, rubble here and there. But nothing quite disturbs you as much as the rot. You notice its presence well before you see it, this foul stench that creeps into your nostrils, sharp and acrid, like burning metal mixed with decay. You can see the faint green glow of it that spills out from various corridors, casting its sickly hued light upon the walls, and you don't need to go any closer to understand its danger. You steer clear of it as best you can. Thankfully, at this point, those of you aware enough manage to keep the rest of you out of danger from it. Deeper within the facility, you find another place. Chaos still reigns throughout everything, and that's no exception here, but it's perhaps a little bit less chaotic than you might have seen previously. This laboratory is similar to the one that you came from, but not quite the same. There's much more arrangement of the furniture, tables and chairs set up in pristine positioning that almost indicates an order in which things need to be done. Various machines sit dormant upon each of the tables. Some are filled with glass and vials, and whatever liquids that might have remained in them are long since gone. You start to get a sense that this laboratory was where things were not necessarily created and tested as much as things here were experimented upon. You find the echo of it as it sprawls in all directions a bit overwhelming at first, but it provides you a good space to sit, to rest, And off in one corner, there's one small section of collapsed wall, broken and shattered in various spots. And yet, what drags your attention to it the most is the river of water that falls through the corner. An opening torn in the ceiling that extends down to another opening torn in the floor. This waterfall, maybe perhaps no more than a few feet wide, rushing with clean, crisp, clear water. The most refreshing thing that you have had in quite some time. You're able to replenish much of your water supplies that were diminishing so much here. And it causes you all to feel a little bit more hopeful in a way. That maybe, just maybe, you're getting closer and closer to this outside world that Gretzky is so fond of talking about. As you spend a little bit more time here, you start to understand this lab that you're in. You start uncovering certain places, scavenging whatever parts and things that you possibly can. Unfortunately, you don't find anything to use for food just yet. But as you dig through, there's another section with thick vines that have kind of grown up around out of the floor, covering up some section of machinery. With the notion that if there's vines, there's nature, and if there's nature, there might be food, you start tearing apart as much of it as you feel comfortable. And Gretzky, you spot it first. As you uncover a particular section of the vines, you see writing on a wall. Only it's not drawn on. It's not painted on like you've seen so many other times before. And there's just the slightest bit of glow behind it. You see the words Chimera Project, Phase, and then instead of a number, you see the words Error, Containment Compromised. And you don't know what that means. Your years of knowledge tell you it can't be good. And it's at that moment that Gordon uncovers another section, and you hear this pop and hiss, and a vine, but not a vine, a twisted piece of metal coiled into a canister comes undone, and it starts filling the room with gas. Green gas starts filling the space in front of you. All of you start falling backwards away from yourselves, away from that whatever it was, trying to escape, trying to get out as quickly as you can, but it's almost too late. You all start to breathe, and you begin to choke. You begin to cough. I need for each of you, please, to roll endure checks.
Owies.
How you doing there, Creep?
I only had 2 dice to roll for this, but I rolled a success.
That's all. That's good enough. 1 is good enough.
Same, I got 1 success.
Okay. Did anyone not get 1? Did anyone push their roll and suffer damage but still succeed? Okay. The rest of you, excluding Gretzky, manage to clench your eyes tight enough. You breathe in a lot of this gas. You don't know what that means just yet, but you can feel this burning inside of your chests that can't be good. You cough and hack and wheeze your way out of that room. The four of you collapse upon the ground kind of in heaps as you try to pull yourselves back together. But you do. And you all stop and collect yourselves, and you're looking at each other, still remnants of the coughing fit happening. And you all look at each other as you have staggered out of this room. You don't see Gretzky.
God damn it.
Okay. It just kind of looks at everybody. Is nobody moving?
Yeah, I'm taking my I'm unwrapping part of my kilt and I'm wrapping it around my face to try and block off and look like I'm gonna head back in there.
Three's doing similar. Like he's got a piece of cloth somewhere like in his bag and he's just wrapping it around his face too.
Okay.
We need to we can't all go in because if we start falling, we need to make a chain. Someone needs to stay outside, and then we need to hold on to each other so that we can, if anything happens, we can get pulled back out of there.
Caligula stands ready at the outside.
Let me go in front of you, Caligula. Let me just stand right in front of you, and I'll reach in, and they can grab onto me, and then you can grab onto me. You know what I'm saying? We'll do it that way.
I'm gonna grab onto you, buddy. I tap 3 on the shoulder. You're probably the strongest and toughest one here, so I'm gonna grab onto you. You go in there, you find Gretzky, you pull him out, okay? And I'm gonna unwrap more of my little cloth, and I'm gonna kind of tuck it behind his belt or something and go, all right, I got you, let's go.
Okay. It trudges on in.
Don't breathe.
I'm assuming you're wanting to hold your breath.
Yeah.
For that. So go ahead and give me another endure check, please.
I look over my shoulder kind of sheepishly at Caligula and say, I didn't mean to do that.
Get in there.
Yeah, we've got a protocol here. I think that's the word.
Okay. Well,
What'd you get, Ian?
Cool. 2 successes and 2 1s.
So did you push the roll?
Yeah. And that was my push roll. 2 successes and 2 1s.
But you will take 2 points of strength damage for that. But you do succeed.
Okay.
As you step into the room, it's hard for you to see. Everything looks like shadows. There's not a whole lot of light. You can't really fully see anything of note of where Gretzky might be. And then you accidentally kick his stick and send it skittering across the floor. And as you look down, you see Gretzky. Okay. You reach down and you pick him up and you start hauling back towards the door. You have you're holding your breath well enough to keep
on my whistle.
You blow on the whistle?
No. I hold my breath.
Did anyone else hear him say he starts blowing on the whistle? I'm pretty sure I heard him say he starts blowing on the whistle.
I think I went temporarily deaf.
Okay.
Yeah, I said I'm thicker than a thistle.
Right.
Keep it going.
Right. You make your way to the door of the room and hurl yourself out of it. The rest of you are there to kind of catch 3 and an unconscious Gretzky as they fall out of the room, all of you kind of laying in a pile, in a heap on the floor. Creep, please, and I guess technically also Ty. Both of you please roll scout checks.
Just to see if you have the correct badges.
That's 1 success.
Okay. I'm assuming you're not pushing?
No.
Okay.
No successes.
Are you pushing?
Yeah, I think I'm obligated.
Okay.
No, still no successes.
Did you get any ones on the push? Okay,
No.
So it's still just a normal failure on the push. You didn't suffer any additional damage or anything from that. Caligula, with your one success, that's enough for you to notice as you look down at your paws, and this is in the moments just before Gretzky and 3 come out of the room. You look down at your paws, and the scabs that your fingertips had on them from when you had been scraping the floor so much, they heal. But instead of your normal skin, they reflect a bit, almost like they're metallic.
Can I put like two and two together and think that it was the gas that was released in that room, or do I?
It wasn't like that before you got exposed to that gas. And you can feel this burning sensation still in your stomach from the gas that you inhaled. It's like the worst acid reflux you've ever experienced.
I think as soon as he notices this, he's gonna look up to Gordon and kind of, without like thought, he just grabs him by the face and turns his head to look where those wounds were from the buzzsaw.
You see a very, very faint metallic sheen in the crack along his beak.
What Gordon sees is Caligula's just grabbed you by the face. He hasn't said anything to you. He just turns your head and like gets really close and then starts.
Oh no. What?
Gas did some to us.
And this is when 3 and the unconscious Gretzky just pile out. Phobos had been standing there ready to yank on the cloth, and you basically catch the two of them. Go ahead and give me a force check.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
God.
Could be. Then who? Sorry.
Nothing. Double threes. Why? Since it's double 3 and his name is 3-3.
Yes, you are completely overrun by the pair of 3s as 3 collapses on top of Phobos, crushing him to the floor.
I got you.
Just on the ground. Okay. Okay, Phobos.
I can't.
Sorry. Hey, thanks.
God.
Sorry, I said thank you for catching me. Stinks in there.
Boy, you big one. Ugh. I get up, blow myself back up, and then go over to Gretzky.
You blow yourself back up.
Jesus Christ.
Go check on
Gretzky is laying on the ground, completely unconscious. I'm assuming you start to examine him.
Yeah. Come on, old man.
Tell me, please, as descriptively as you can, what is Phobos's methodology for examining Gretzky to find out what's wrong with him?
I think that since it was a gas that was there, and I guess I understand at least the basic idea that we inhaled it and it did something terrible, I think that he would first be opening his eyes and then checking if he's still breathing, and opening his eyes and seeing if they look like they still got some line and whatnot.
That's perfect, because that's exactly where you see what's wrong. As soon as Phobos reaches down and slowly lifts the eyelids of the badger known as Gretzky, he sees little tiny swirling specks of metal, almost like a snow globe.
What? What the hell is going on? Caligula, come here.
I think you're going to want to come look at this, Doc. He's still holding Gordon's face, just like really close to it.
Yeah. Put Gordon on the back burner and come and check this.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something really weird here. Metallic?
Hey, Ian, can you go ahead and roll a, oh God, it's not perception. Why was I about to say perception check? Can you please do me a favor and roll a scout check?
Comprehend?
Nope, scout check.
Heard.
Hey, Charmed Fantasy, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Everyone's slowly finding out what's wrong with them.
A lot.
There's a lot wrong with them.
We don't have issues. We have subscriptions.
1 success. I got 1 success.
One success is enough. As 3 kind of hoists himself up and is starting to kind of ask these questions as he's speaking, he can see his breath in front of him. Not uncommon in several of the spots that you've been in the facility that have been colder than others, and you kind of, when you just see the cold air. Except there's little tiny sparkles, like reflections of light in his breath.
What is that? What is that?
The hell? The hell's going on? I'll go over and I'll check Gordon quickly. What Caligula's showing me.
Yeah, he without thinking just like moves Gordon's head to Phobos and like points, but it also does one of these like our wounds from earlier. Something about that gas.
I didn't have wounds, so I kind of look around, but I realize I don't have wounds, so
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get away from it. I go back to Gretzky. All right, old man, I'm gonna need you to wake up, and I'm gonna take another drink that I have. It's a potion of healing. And I'm gonna crack it open, and I'm gonna pour it down.
As soon as you start to get it close to Gretzky's face, Gretzky, you bolt upright, sitting straight up, Undertaker style. Your eyes are wide. They are completely metallic at this point. You can see normally. And I'm curious what Gretzky would say if he had this knowledge that there is tremendous danger coming from behind you. What would be the thing if you like startled awake from unconsciousness and somehow you knew that something was about to come through that door and murder you? What would Gretzky say?
Fly, you fools.
And that's where we're going to call it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. On Fly You Fools. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us as our band of our pack of mutant animal creatures have discovered something strange is about to happen.